Hi, Aaron. It's great to have you with us. Could you start by telling us a bit about yourself and your role at Diya Salon Studios? And for those who may not be familiar, could you please briefly describe what experience you want to create for your clients?
My name's Aaron Montgomery. I'm an entrepreneur based in Richmond, Virginia. And I was the founder of Diya Salon Studios because I had a lot of faith in this business concept of helping other entrepreneurs build their businesses, and knew that as an entrepreneur myself, finding the right location, having the right support, being able to get a good start is really, really important. So we wanted to build this business that allowed salon stylists and other folks who work in the cosmetic field to get a good start. And I chose the name Diya Salon. Coincidentally, it's the name of my daughter, but her name was chosen very deliberately as well. Diya is a Sanskrit word for light. And to me, there was something poetic about this idea of lighting your path as a new entrepreneur and having a clean, fresh start. So setting the vision for that and really starting to put the sweat into the details was really my initial role at the studio. And now it's supporting these community members and making sure that they have a great and successful business. That notion of being that space that felt comfortable and appropriate for a kickoff meant for us building a vibe that we borrow a lot of concepts from hotels and places that you like to be. So it wasn't just meant to be where you go and work and just have, your chair and your shampoo bowl. I wanted people to come in and feel like this is home because I'm going to be there all day. And I wanted them to feel comfortable. And I felt like if they were comfortable, they could then customize and personalize their own spaces to make their customers and guests feel comfortable as well. So that was really the vibe that we were going for. It's just something that felt like a retreat and didn't feel like work and felt like a fun place to go to and spend your day.
And Dia Salon has very clean, modern aesthetic. Maybe it's somehow connected as well to the name of your daughter, to the fresh new start. What inspired the overall design direction of the space?
I think for us, it was a mix of a couple of things. It was hospitality was a big cue. And again, like I was saying, that idea of wanting to be there. When you think about being welcomed into, if you travel and you go to a nice hotel and you want to be there. It's almost like it competes for your attention. It's like I want to do all this touristy stuff, but I wouldn't mind just hanging out here and just being here. So I think hospitality was a big cue. I think a lot of modern residential design was a big cue. So we used some of the wallpaper choices and the carpeting choices. They weren't the typical, and it actually challenged some of our designers and architects where they were used to showing this is the commercial grade stuff that most people do. It's the plain whites, it's the this, it's the that. And we were picking wallpaper tracks that you would choose in your home and that you would choose to furnish a vacation rental or something like that. So I think that hospitality and residential design piece was a big part. I didn't want it to feel like a strip mall salon. I didn't want it to feel like, a Supercuts. I didn't want it to feel like a corporate office with a cubicle. I wanted to feel calm and light, and I wanted to build confidence. And I wanted neutral tones and clean lines and materials that would age well and not look like something that was built for sure in 2025 and something that would be a bit ageless. But I also didn't want to over engineer it to the point where if you wanted to be a member there, you had to like my aesthetic. I wanted to be neutral enough that you could also bring your own style and not clash with mine. So there was a lot of work there. We worked with some really talented designers. In fact, one of them is the gentleman who actually helped me with the aesthetic in my own home, and so somebody who I trust. But that was a big part of the focus, was just making sure that we made it comfortable enough, but we didn't impose our own will on the stylists who choose to be a member.
Yeah, I can surely say that your design looks amazing, incredible. And can I say that when you were looking for signage for the studios, you wanted to feel the same home vibe for your space?
Certainly, signage kind of sets the tone, and what you see in a lot of places, certainly for where a lot of these folks were coming from, vinyl stickers on a glass window, a plastic clunky sign that falls down. It's a neon sign that doesn't always stay on. Like they have, some scar tissue around what signage looks like, and you don't even have an expectation for it. So I wanted to do something that would reflect that design. Again, clean, modern. We've got this, these stainless looks that feel kind of, we've got, the Braille lettering that kind of implies that that anybody can find it. And it just felt professional. It felt like something more like you would see in a modern office building than you would see in a typical salon studio. And the way it happened was actually pretty cool because that was the last thing that I chose, right? It's like, I didn't want to do it early. Because all the things that people were steering me towards were the traditional things. Do it like this, do it like that. The members were even saying, hey, I've been here for a week or two. If nobody knows how to find my spot, can you help me? There's no numbers up, there's no signs. I said, just give me some time to get it right. I've got this really talented gentleman, John, he actually hangs paintings for a living. He's just got a really good attention to detail. I said, hey, listen, this is that important to me. I want to get these signs right. I want to hang them in the exact right spot. I want it to look like, and we did it overnight on a Sunday. And everybody came in Monday, and I got just emails just poured in. Said, you got it. I never had a sign like this. It looks so cool. They couldn't wait to tell their friends. They're sending back pictures. And it actually is one of the hallmarks because when we advertise online, it's like we show the view from the door, kind of framing around the room, but you can kind of see the door sign there. And it just feels really professional and clean. So I think that was actually it worked out perfectly. That was exactly the moment that we wanted to land.
Oh, we're really glad to hear that. How did the design and collaboration process feel for you from start to finish with us?
I think, by having, it's good to have some thoughts in mind. I don't think it's something I could have done cold. I think it's, having some sense of here's what I'm going for helps a lot. So then it's like, hey, if I want to do this, what would fit that aesthetic for me was easier than just coming in and saying, hey, here's what I want to do. What do you think? So I think having a couple of strong points of view help because there actually are a lot of choices you can make. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to anchor on a. So I think, for example, in our case, stainless was a choice. Hopefully one that ages well, but stainless and glass were deliberate choices. Bold lettering, black lettering was a deliberate choice throughout. Not having, curly Q or, really elaborate fonts was a choice. Being timeless was a choice. So I think it kind of narrowed some of the options and made it easier to say, hey, if we're going to do this, then these are the things we're going to do. So I think that worked from the ground up, from like I said, the carpet, the wallpaper, to exactly the signs, the fonts, the color. It made it a lot easier, but it definitely helped to have a strong point of view. I don't know, speaking only for myself personally, I don't know that I could have picked from scratch without having some sense of where I wanted to go and having some, illustrator analog in my mind for what it could look like.
You told us a little bit about your first reaction when you saw finished signs installed in the space, and what about your colleagues and customers?
For the customers, for the members, it was the aha moment, like I described. For me, it was the relief of like it finally comes together. It was like putting the last stone in place. It's like the space is done, the flooring is done, it's all furnished. Now the signs are there. It's identification. For the customers, the folks that come in and use the space, I don't know that they recognize every individual detail. It's just they recognize the harmony of how it all comes together. So it's not so much that they come in and say like, this is a good sign, you did well. It's more that if I would have picked the wrong sign, it would have felt odd to them. And that's really what I want. I just wanted to feel like harmony. I didn't want people to come in and, they felt that you could tell that they felt that, for example, when there were no signs, right? Like, how come there aren't any signs? Had we gone, with ugly block lettering that didn't fit, it would look weird. It would look like something you just pasted on and look weird. So I think it was important that each new step kind of harmonizes with the other steps. And that's what I think, the fact that I get consistent feedback from customers that, especially for folks who move their practice from one salon to another, this place is so much nicer. I like how professional it feels. And I think that, again, the signage having that subtle cue of like law office or something, it feels more professional. And I think that that's what we were going for. I didn't want them to come in and say, hey, look at any individual piece. I wanted all the pieces to tie together well. And that was, I think, what the signage did for us, was it kind of it put that finishing piece on and made it feel like this is a complete unit all on its own.
And how do you feel the signage contributes to the overall look and professionalism of the salon studios in general?
Of ours, or just in general in the business?
In general, yeah.
Yeah. I think that there are different approaches. And I think that, I think in the past, people thought about these in terms of market segments. So there were like low end salons and they might not have the nicest fixtures, and there were really high end salons and they have these really nice fixtures. We wanted to strike a balance where it feels high end, but we weren't beating people over the head with a really high price. So I think being able to find solutions that work throughout the range was important for us. I would predict that in the future, this industry does move more towards where we are, where it's like, hey, everyone who's in this space, they're in it, some cases 6-7 days a week, all day long, sometimes well into the night. It's very hardworking people. You're on your feet. They deserve a comfortable space that inspires them. So I think that you'll find the industry finding more ways to do that. And again, what you spend as a developer, you can make something look really nice with all IKEA. You can make something look really nice with Herman Miller. I don't think it's just the aesthetic and the functionality. I think it's more of just making the deliberate choice that you want the place to be inspiring. So I think that the industry is getting closer in that regard. I don't think they're quite there. I think that's one of the reasons that we had early success, is people came in and felt like, wow, it's light, it's bright, it's nice. It was a no-brainer for them at the price point. but which signaled to me that there weren't enough competitors thinking the same way. But I think that the industry will certainly move that way.
That's for sure. And the last question is, what advice would you give to the other studios owners of salon professionals when choosing signage for their space?
My biggest advice would be to go inside your place and see it from the eye of the person who's going to be in there. It's like, and kind of like your earlier question, like what do customers feel when they come in? Like imagine walking into a place. I don't think I ever thought so much about the details until I've done this, and I've built other businesses and car dealerships and other things, but it's hard to put yourself in the eye of the customer until you just go and do it. You have to have a good sense of what it feels like to walk in off the street. And for these members, that's what they're thinking when they come in. They're like, when my customers come here, what are they going to think? What are they going to, what are they going to expect when they're making that decision to commit to being in a new place for years at a time? So I think you have to have that mindset, and you can get there by doing some shopping, walking around to other ones, going to other salons, and being more aware. Like when you go to your own barber stylist, start paying attention. Like what kind of ceiling tiles do they have? What kind of look at the things that are going on, check the signage, and be more mindful of it. But that for me was a big piece, is I had to put myself into their shoes and think hard about what this would look like, from the member's perspective and from their customer's perspective, and that was super helpful.
Thank you for taking time to share your experience of working with us. We wish your business prosperity and for your customers to feel themselves like at home, really. And for those who are still looking for where to order door signs for their space, visit bsignstore.com and choose signage that will become the perfect addition to your interior. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much. I enjoyed this.